Mario Party 7 is the best Mario Party. It's an objective fact. If you disagree, stay mad. 7 takes everything that was good about Mario Party 6, polishes it up, and adds some of the best boards and minigames the series has ever seen, along with many other extras. It also adds some new problems, but we'll get there. Mario Party 7 to me is the greatest party game ever made. I got 7 with my Gamecube in 2005, and to this day, it is still my multiplayer game of choice. It has the perfect ensemble of short and long content that, no matter the occasion, there's a reason to boot this up. In terms of Mario Parties, 2 and 3 have a special place in my heart and define my childhood, but 7 is the evolution, continuation, the replacement. When I play video games with my sister, cousins, and friends, this is where we start. Mario Party 7 is an interesting game for me to reflect on because I could tear this game apart, but I could also sing its praises. It is incredibly imperfect, but its strengths are some of the franchise's highest peaks. I remember in my early days browsing online, 7 was widely disliked because everyone was fatigued by the franchise. It wasn't Mario Party 7. It was the 7th Mario Party, and since then, the game's definitely gained a cult following, but man does it get so much criticism. This is one of the most nitpicked games out there. Its faults are blown completely out of proportion to the point that 7's reputation is 6's shadow. But I think 7 shines brighter, and today, I'll explain why. Mario Party 7's story is that the crew goes on vacation without Bowser, and he is pissed. When will you learn that your actions have consequences? Since Mario Party 1, Bowser's lost a lot of his influence, and 7's here to remind us he's still got that bag. The day-night gimmick from 6 is gone, and instead we have Bowser time. Every 5 turns, Bowser appears, and a variety of events can happen. He'll open a Walmart, cause an earthquake. This guy really fucking hates bridges. Sometimes he'll steal a star and put it back into play, or take a souvenir photo to make a few bucks. It adds a unique twist to the game where your strategy can change as a result of his meddling, and thankfully it never reaches the point of being too obtrusive. Beyond that, Mario Party 7 is a balance patch type of sequel. It makes slight tweaks everywhere, but does just enough to give the game an identity. Following in the spirit of Bowser, he got full custody of his space back from Donkey Kong, and every time you land here, a minigame is played. Expect these to show up a lot, and this opens up the discussion to the first critique of 7. This is one of the longest Mario Parties to complete a full game in. There's a lot of things going into this, and I'll be bouncing in and out of the subject, but regarding the Bowser spaces, playing so many extra minigames and now making players watch their opponents play extra minigames can be frustrating for those who just want the game to continue. Every Mario Party has the issue of padded time, but 7 gets the brunt of it. You know, if there's one thing I've learned from the Mario Party fanbase, it's that they hate playing Mario Party. Donkey Kong also got these changes. If you land on his space, you will play a minigame. Both characters will give or take coins, and their single player games have the chance to award or steal a star. And for the classic Bowser events like switching items, warping players, and starting revolutions, the new Koopa Kid space fills that role. Another space with big changes are duels, and I think this is 7's biggest misdemeanor. The rules have always been that people wagered coins or stars before starting a duel, and 7 got rid of that. This time, there is no wagering. The minigame plays, and afterwards, the winner spins a wheel to determine their prize. 10 coins, half of them, all of them, 1 star, 2, or nothing. It's possible everyone just wasted their time, but if I could defend this decision, the blind duel is a good idea in concept. In my circles, some people are too scared of losing that they only wager 1 coin, which effectively makes the duel just as meaningless. With this method, the stakes are always high because now you gotta play like everything's on the line every time, and the excitement of seeing a 2-star, all coins or nothing at a critical moment exceeds the hype from the traditional rules. What ruins it though is the lack of choice. If your win condition was to steal a star or take someone's money, it's tough shit. Here's nothing. So in the end, yeah, the duel mechanics are worse. A couple other absences are chance time, and Pink Boo is now an orb. On the topic of orbs, there's actually quite a lot. A few cuts were made with the removal of Bullet Bill, Klepto, Paratroopa, Warp Pipe, and Bob-omb. This one I don't mind. No Warp Pipe sucks, and Paratroopa had a lot of potential, but these are, in my opinion, some of 6's worst orbs, and by removing them, more better items will be in play more often. As for new orbs, Pink Boo steals stars from anyone who lands on them. Warp Pipe became a trap that kinda acts like Bob-omb. Some boards have their own orbs I'll get into later, and there's a couple adjustments like Kamek got buffed and Snack and Zap got nerfed. The real highlight are the new character-specific orbs. Mario Party took a page from Mario Kart Double Dash and gave pairs of characters their own unique items. And what do you know? People really hate this. Mario Party 7 is the first Mario Party to have a tier list. Wait till they find out about every other Mario spinoff. Yeah, how come Mario Kart gets a pass for having one viable character, while Mario Party 7 is treated like it pissed on a couch at the Christmas party for having optional items? And what really grinds my gears about this is another big change in 7 is the restructuring of bonus stars. 3 more were added, and of the 6, 3 are randomly awarded. And I can't believe how often I see people hate this and hate the character-specific orbs. Imagine wanting to win Mario Party at a competitive level or something, and refusing to pick a high tier. And if you're a casual, why do you even care? This is the most nothing burger set of complaints I have ever seen. And I can sympathize with people upset their favorite character got a shitty orb, but don't act like the game's integrity is ruined because of it. Chances are they won't even affect the results, and that's because most of them are garbage. Mario & Luigi's Fireball gives them a bullet bill for 3 turns, Peach and Daisy's Flower is a metal mushroom that gives them 3 coins for every space traveled, Yoshi and Burrow's Egg lets them remove spaces off the board and add them to their inventory, Wario and Luigi's Vacuum can steal 1 coin from every player for a net negative investment, Toad and Toadette get mushrooms for 3 turns, and Boo and Drybone's Magic Rod gives them a metal mushroom that doubles their roll for 2 turns. So Toad and Toadette are obviously the best, and Boo and Drybones aren't far off. Man, if only there was counterplay. Everything else is incredibly situational, or can be squandered with bad RNG, and I can't believe people are butthurt over this. Something that actually sucks is 7's integration of the microphone. This can be used during boards, and it got a brand new space where players can double their coins in the easiest memory game ever conceived. It is so overpowered, time-consuming, and dull that every other complaint seems tame in comparison. Luckily, you can turn it off, but a cutscene still plays to tell you you're broke. And you know what? That's okay. What I hate about it is that there's 10 minigames locked behind this thing. I'll save them for the minigame section, but Mario Party 7 has a free-for-all drought, and I like to think this is why. Fun fact, if you want to see this game's credits, you need to use the microphone. The last edition to cover is the best of the bunch, and that's because 8 people can play Mario Party 7 together. Even though the Gamecube only has 4 ports, 2 players can sit really close to each other and split the joysticks and triggers. I imagine you'll hear a, "Why is your hand so sweaty?" at least once in the group. So I've never actually played with more than 4 people, but what we like to do is control both characters ourselves. So that's a small twist on the game boards, and you get access to 12 more minigames. So it's something I'll occasionally mix into the rotation. I'd love to see 8-player return in a future installment and not just be limited to teams. There is so much potential for minigames and chaos, I just gotta see how they do it. But those are 7's changes, and I know it's not looking good for the best party game ever, since a lot of its additions include controversial gimmicks and removing content. But the core game here is still really solid, and with its all-star selection of game boards, 7 is a treasure trove of entertainment. Following the story's vacation theme, every map is inspired by countries around the world: Italy, China, Egypt, America, the Netherlands, and hell, which is a pretty cool diversion, and they squeeze lots of culture from these locations with their architecture, landscapes, clothing, and music. This game makes you feel like you've been to hell, and once again, every board has its own unique rules, giving the game more longevity with its variety. Grand Canal is the classic style board. Stars are 20 coins, and it warps when it's purchased. Since the removal of skeleton keys and Boo, the normal rules board archetype has had a bit of an identity crisis, making dynamic maps with fewer meaningful path splits that don't rely on orbs to force those decisions. And I think Grand Canal is the closest to figuring out a solution. Every junction has something of value behind it, whether it's a shop or a happening space. And while it's really hard to land on any given one, Grand Canals are so good, they'll make you consider the gamble. Something new to 7 is the inclusion of happening spaces that reward stars, and on this board, the Outer Ring has one with a tricky cup memory game. It's not a terrible strategy to hoard a sluggish room for this, but on the way there, the Tilted Tower of Pisa may send you back to start. Spaces on the left and right let you ride a gondola to each other while collecting some coins, and if you need a fast pass to anywhere but the center, the bridge in the middle can do that. The last happening space also gives money and stars, but its placement is in the only questionably designed part of the board. At the first junction, the shorter path has a shop, making the other way pretty useless. This is a map where Bowser can open a quick trip, which would, in theory, make you decide between taking the toll or making a detour. But the difference is 1 space, and if you visit Bowser, you reset the shop for your opponents while getting none of the benefits till later. There just isn't enough incentive to go here outside of incredibly specific scenarios, like when Bowser breaks the bridges and replaces them with his spaces, which also floods this corner. It's the part of the map you'll see the most, and it's a little distracting how bottlenecked it can become. Pagoda Peak is Pagoat Up Peak. This is the series' greatest board, and the irony is it does everything I should hate. The map is a straight line, which means you're always at the mercy of the dice, but with orbs in play, this place transforms. You'll reach a point where every turn, everyone's losing coins. It's the nightmare version of Peach's birthday cake, and I can't get enough of it. My playtime of game boards with my sister and cousin saw a steep decline in the GameCube era, but Pagoda Peak managed to draw us back in. After Mystery Land and Mario Party 2, this is my most played board. Do you understand why I'm fucked in the head yet? So the rules of Pagoda Peak are simple. Get to the end, buy a star, and after every purchase, its price cycles between 10, 20, 30, and 40 coins. Need a homie discount or market inflation? Go ahead and ring a gong. Want to climb up fast and avoid some traps? Tie yourself to a firework and pray for the best. The board's exclusive Cannon Orb can give a short boost, while the Bob-omb pushes your friends off a cliff, and resting at the top is a dragon that will launch anyone it eats back to start. It's a deceptive board despite its linear design. Rolling high is well and good, but if you don't have enough coins for a star, the trek was all for naught. In the middle is a dojo with 3 dual spaces you can expect to see often, which further increases the shifting of coins, and when Bowser appears, you can't avoid a shop, and if he breaks that bridge, that's the end of your turn. He can also clap his ass cheeks so hard that everyone loses their balance, and some of the other events include putting out a fire and dodging logs in a waterfall. This board always has something going on. It's a map you can't put into any other Mario Party and expect to be as good. All those odd changes Seven made to the rules clash together in a way that turns Pagoda Peak into an all-time classic. Being the superstar of Mario Party among my sister and cousins, something they will never let me forget is the time I finally lost a game on Pagoda Peak. God, they rubbed it in and laughed in my face so much, I started crying, and our grandma took me to the gas station and bought me a ring pop to make me feel better. Those were the best days of my life. Pyramid Park is the perfect evolution of Snowflake Lake. That board had a 2-layer design where you'd use the outside to hunt and the inside to hide. Pyramid Park said no hiding pussies, nowhere is safe, so planning ahead and positioning wisely are important now more than ever. If you play too aggressively, you'll leave yourself open, but if you act too defensively, you'll never earn stars. The map is divided into 2 different sides. On the right, there's 3 huts offering 1 die for 10 and 2 for 20, and the left has only 1 selling buy 1 get 2 free. Connecting these islands together are bridges that Bowser may destroy, locking players in for a few turns of the pressure cooker, and controversially, he can also steal stars and throw them on the board. Another way to switch sides are the sandpits on the edge. The coin collecting games include Whack-a-Snake and Swimming in an Oasis, and there actually is a path of safety, but it comes with a steep price. Behind the swamp are 5 spaces the dogs can't touch, but it's in the most inconvenient location, and you give up the opportunity to use the 3-for-1 shop to go here. It also has the Bowser Sphinx, which can flip-flop the game by splitting everyone's coins, switching red and blue spaces, or cutting down the price to steal a star. So in reality, there's only 4 safe spaces. Neon Heights is the return of Mario Party 3's Spiny Desert, and it's so much better. Mirage Stars are back, and with a twist. Across the board are 3 treasure chests that have either a star, a refund, or a bomb that sends the buyer back to start. By having 3 gums to follow, there's less competition over any individual one. If you're second or third in line, you can take another path. Maybe that one has a star. And the board's design has several of these junctions to let you make those decisions. That was my problem with Spiny Desert. The gimmicks were more to get you ahead or behind each other instead of getting you around. There's also opportunities to earn stars with this matching game and Flying to the Moon. A Shooting Range and Dinger Derby Jr. offer free coins and make the game 10 minutes longer. Aliens can relocate chests if they're out of your way, and the Lakitu Orb hoists one into your way. When Bowser appears, hope you're not first, he can steal coins or stars from players and throw them in a chest, and if he's feeling real nice, he'll put a star into play. It's an exciting game of gambling. Playing this board, you want to have good luck, but at the same time, you don't want too much luck. Windmillville's a new game style. Mario meets Monopoly. Around the board are windmills that players can invest in, and whoever holds the most stake is the owner of its star. You can either stretch yourself thin and put coins everywhere, so there's always an opportunity to take over a windmill, or you can save up your money bags and dump them into one. Both strategies work, but Bowser may say otherwise. He'll loot coins and sometimes take it all, and the Bandit Orb will even let players steal from each other. glider. The most interesting quirk to this board is its alternating path splits. Windmills worth more stars are locked behind these, and playing around them can be pretty difficult. In the center is a 3-star windmill every 4th player can access, and if you want to guarantee you'll see some of these, the flower glider will randomly bring you to one. For other happening spaces, sheep can be heard in the rarest event ever, and coins can be collected with a leaf trampoline. It's one of those maps where coins have more value. The price of a star is whatever you make it. Maybe you overbid, maybe someone snipes you at the last second possible. It's an inventive style board that I'd love to see developed further. Bowser's Enchanted Inferno is the obligatory island hopper, and they did such a good job here. The islands don't follow any set order, so if you want to leave the one you're on, do it. There's 2-way path splits dividing them all, so entrances and exits are one and the same. This is the most free an island hopper's ever been. They even have cannons to launch you across the map. Enchanted Inferno is a classic style board, but the twist is that during Bowser time, the island with the star is sunk into the lava. Like Bowser Land from Mario Party 2, it puts players on a timer to collect stars fast or to stay the hell away, because a dip in the drink costs half of your coins. What also makes this unique is that's the only Bowser event, and it makes me wonder how the other maps could work if they were designed with the same level of consistency. For happening spaces, every island has one. North contains a sumo game, East brings back the flamethrower, South has a guessing game, and West built a roller coaster. And just for shits and giggles, 2 more spaces can relocate the star. As I said before, this is the greatest selection of game boards the series has ever seen. I love the variety of rule sets and random board events. They may put out the time it takes to finish a round, but with them, I am always invested in the results. Every other Mario Party has at least one map I don't like to pick, or rarely ever visit, or the quality of their best ones just aren't as high as these. And despite all of 7's changes, they do nothing to tarnish the quality of its boards. Mario Party 7 revived the story mode, in quotations, and it's definitely a mode. This is a 2-player game where the goal is to complete objectives faster, like buying 2 stars or fixing 3 windmills. I've only played through this one other time, and that's because it takes no skill. On Grand Canal, players race to collect 2 stars, but the reality is that the first person to get a star will likely win the game, because they'll be closer to the next one. That was the case in my playthrough. I missed the first star, was dead in the water, then God himself worked with me hand in hand by bestowing a flutter orb into my inventory and giving me the win. So I definitely earned that one. Pyramid Park is pretty similar. There's only 1 star in play, and the goal is to bring it to the Sphinx. But the map isn't exactly designed for a game of 2-player back and forth, so whoever gets the star first will have no opposition. Neon Heights and Windmillville follow suit, except there's a chance you may run out of coins, but this mode also hands them out so much, it rarely becomes a problem. On the bright side, Pagoda Peak was fantastic. Whoever can reach the summit with 100 coins first wins, and that's the key difference. Coins can be spent or lost, so more thought has to be put into if or when you use them. Orbs are more relevant because you're retreading spaces. It's the only board where you have to plan ahead, and it made me realize the dual space was changed for this mode. By limiting the opportunity for someone to go broke, the game and its limited structure is a lot more healthy. Bowser's Enchanted Inferno sucks. Collect a star to fight Bowser. As a final boss minigame, Bowser's Lovely Lift is a hardest steel dodge'em where one hit's a game over. But in this mode, your progress gets saved, so there's a really good chance the first player will lose 3/4 in, just for player 2 to scoop up the win without any effort. And then the ending to this mode is ripped straight from Mario Sunshine. Even the part where Koopa Kid says, "Someday, when I'm bigger, I wanna fight that boo again." Koopa Kid was shot 1 day later. Alright, let's finally dig into these minigames. Mario Party 7 has a banger of a collection, and that's quite an accomplishment because Bowser, Donkey Kong 8-player, and the microphone eat up from the total. There's only 13 free-for-alls, but they made sure we got the cream of the crop. Track and Yield and Take Me Home display the game's unbelievably tight 3D controls. There is no other game I've played that's as fun to jump as this one. Someone needs to make a mod that's just a whole Mario adventure with 120 stars. That's how good it feels. Fun Run uses them to a lesser effect. Snow Ride and Cartwheels are great racers with tight and responsive controls. Picture This and Catchy Tunes are a blast to play with friends. All of them are just fantastic iterations of their genres, besides Cointagious, which is really lazy. But if there has to be a luck game, I'd prefer it as the coin one. Let's spend 5 minutes talking about Poke Pummel. Poke Pummel is kind of the hypest minigame in the Mario Party series. When it shows up, everyone's gotta lock in. They're cracking their knuckles, twisting the controller. I've never played any other game where people need to sit on the floor. Growing up with Mario Party, I played every minigame so much, I knew them all inside and out. I was an unstoppable force, and my sister and cousins could never beat me. Unless it was a button masher. These were my kryptonite. My technique sucked, my wrist was limp. No matter what I do, I was the slowest masher in the group by a wide margin. And I think my inability to win is what caused Pokepummel to become one of the all-time greats. Mario Party has seen its fair share of button mashers over the years, but they all vary slightly in the buttons you press, the time limit, and how many times the button needs to be pressed. Pokepummel is the ideal combination of these variables. The big-ass green button, 65 presses. Long enough to test your skills, but short enough you won't get fatigued. It's the perfect length to replay a dozen times, and the reason we'd replay Pokepummel is for the record. When I was 8, I'd typically score 13 seconds, maybe 12 on a good day. I can't even comprehend being that slow. I remember opening up the staff record menu and thinking the fastest possible time was 6 or 7 seconds, and then being blown away 3:46 was even possible. Since then, I've been grinding to improve at the game, and a decade later, 8 seconds became my best. But I was still a little slower than my oldest cousin was when she was that age. A bit more training, and I could reclaim the record on my memory card. And then, out of nowhere, the Pokepummel record became a trophy between two strangers. My best friend and my brother-in-law. In 2017, I was playing Mario Party 7 with my buddy, and when Pokepummel showed up, he knocked the time down to a 6:41, about a second quicker than the record. I mentioned it to my sister and brother-in-law like it was this legendary feat, and then he became really interested in the game, effortlessly dropping it to a sub-6. I sent my friend a picture, and a rivalry began. Over the next few months, they traded the crown, taking turns lowering it a few more frames. And when the dust settled, they were tied at 5:35. Watching the two of them, I knew sub 5 was possible. Frequently a run would be on pace, but every time they'd burn out too fast, and their energy faded after the first 3 seconds. There would be days of attempts with no progress made, and I started to doubt if either of them could do it. But after a month of grinding, this happened.
The guy's gonna win.
Ooh. My buddy got a 5:01, just a hair above sub 5, a time that would tease him for years. He and my brother-in-law continued to make a push, but neither could improve. And as of 2021, that's where the record stood. Until the Donkey Konga 3 incident. So I import Gamecube games from Japan, and an important thing to know about that is some imports will format your memory card. I've always been careful about this and use a backup card for these games, but when I got Donkey Konga 3 in the mail and put it in my Gamecube to test it, I forgot to remove my memory card, and in the blink of an eye, my entire childhood was erased, including the Pokepummel record. Fortunately, in 2017, I backed up my files on the import cards, so the Pokepummel time was back at 6:41. And with the record up for grabs again, breaking sub 5 was more important than it's ever been. I called some friends over and put up a bounty. $5 to beat 520, $20 for 5:01 or better. We gave our all for an hour, and by the end, we were tired, sweaty, and overcome by the realization that our 23-year-old bodies were too old to button mash. The best we could get was 5:18. So far away from 5:01, it didn't seem obtainable anymore. But the discovery of a new technique gave me hope. Slide mashing. By wrapping your finger in cloth, its surface becomes smooth enough to slide over the A button without ever lifting your hand. This method redefines the condition to complete a button press, and I believed it was the key to finally breaking the record. But every attempt at slide mashing was met with a hiccup or mistake that stopped us from saving any time. Another year passed, and the record was still untouched, and I was fed up with it. Hanging out with my best friend one day, I wanted to give slide mashing one more chance, but I decided we should warm up our hands with Super Smash Bros. First. When the time was right, I pulled out the Gamecube and put in Mario Party 7. This would be the last attempt. If we didn't break the record today, it would be time to close the book on Pokepummel and reclaiming 5:01. I loaded up the minigame, and then something unbelievable happened. On the first try, I didn't just break the record. I destroyed it, nearly a whole second quicker. I, the slowest button masher, reclaimed the record for the first time in 17 years. Slide mashing, as I predicted, was the secret to breaking sub 5. I no longer had to live knowing I deleted the 501, and my friend could finally rest knowing his lost time was defeated. Pokepummel was beat. And 423 is where the record sits today.
Go!
What the fuck? So returning to the minigames, the 2 vs 2s are also the best on the Gamecube. Spider Stomp's a cool take on the shmup, Sphere Factory and Battery Ram are sweet new ideas for racing games, Bus Stormer makes me always want a perfect time, and Tile and Error is a simplified Splatoon. 1 vs 3 also clears everything on the Gamecube, maybe even the whole series, not that that's hard to do, but I really enjoy the mind games of Balloonatic and the precision required in Pogo a Go-Go. Think Tank's a snappier version of 5's Mario Mech, Spinner Cell uses the C-Stick creatively, Spray Anything's one of the most fair feeling 3 ganging up on 1 games, and Easy Pickings is one of my favorite luck games. The battle minigames are fine, Helipopper carries, and Deckhand sucks, but none of them really scream battle minigame. The duels are great though. Camp You Kiki and Apes of Wrath let you dick around with the 3D controls. Give Me a Sign and Bridge Work are fun last man standing. Spin Doctor's a race of keen observation. Hip Hop Drop tests your reflexes. Warp Pipe Dream's another good luck game. I'll admit this isn't one of my favorite selections, but what we got is still very good. And getting into the other types of games, the microphone isn't as bad as you'd think, but the necessity to make everyone take turns can leave a sour experience. I think Dart Attack and Oil Crisis are fun additions, Clock Watchers and Balloon Busters can definitely command an audience, and Mathemortician exists. The 1 vs 3s are more on the meh side. All 5 of them are the same type of dodging games, so they blend together too much. But if I had to pick a favorite, it has to be Stratosphere. This game could work without the microphone, and looking at it's always made me wonder what a Mario game in the Mushroom Kingdom would be like on the Gamecube. Donkey Kong and Bowser are the most hit or miss. Donkey Kong is a stupid, dumb ape, so he's super easy to beat. But I've always wanted Jumpman to get a longer 4-player cut. Bowser's single-player games are just as underwhelming, but his free-for-alls are some of my favorites in the series. These are just straight-up Mario levels disguised as minigames, so I actually really look forward to landing on a space. You have to earn your right to keep your coins, and I love that. Over the years, it's been fun watching my sister, who doesn't play too many platformers, start to clear these games. I really appreciate their inclusion, and the last of the bunch are the 8-player games. And even though the 8-player mode is team-based, there's a mix of co-op and free-for-alls in here. Bumper to Bumper is the best iteration of Bumper Balls, Give Me a Break is what Wario's Bluff on Mario Party E wishes it could be, and it has weather physics. Grin and Bart's the new Hot Rope Jump, Shock Absorber's the ultimate Shy Guy Says, Rope-a-Dope and Real Smoothie are perfect when you're controlling both characters, and really the only dud is Ducked and Cover because it expects teams to put 4 hands on 1 controller. I kinda wanna try this the way you're intended to. It seems so awkward to think about, but those are the minigames, and like I said, this is an incredible collection. Not as good as 2 or 3, but 7 makes a statement. With hundreds of minigames to compete against, 7 innovates on a lot of ideas we've already seen, and creates better versions that feel completely original, while also making space for several gimmicks. It has quality and quantity, making 7 a very easy game to want to revisit. And it also has the best side mode in any video game ever. I've talked a big game about the decathlons in Mario Party 5 and 6, but neither of them touch the sheer enjoyment I get from 7's Decathlon Castle. I'm not gonna lie, if Mario Party 7 was just the Decathlon Castle, it would still be my favorite Mario Party. There's a possibility I've played this mode more than I played Mario Party 3 with my cousins, and we're talking over like at least 50 hours. It is that fucking good, and it wasn't uncommon for us to spend a whole afternoon playing this over and over and over again. You get Pokepummel, Fun Run, Take Me Home, Track and Yield, Snow Ride, Cartwheel, Target Tag, Air Farce, Helipopper, and Monty's Revenge. So many god tier games are in this pool, and with the decathlon allowing everyone to finish the mini games and extending the timer on Track and Yield and Take Me Home, you have one of the most replayable party games ever made. I haven't taken this mode too seriously to make a world record attempt or anything, but against humans and brutal computers, my personal best is 8,285, with the sum of best scores passing 9,000. I imagine with scores I lost from the Donkey Kong 3 incident, it would be even higher, and if I were to go try hard and use 3 unmanned controllers to get perfect on some games, I may be looking at a 9,500. You'll notice Yoshi's in the top 10. I actually didn't main Boo when I first got the game. From day one, I was Yoshi's strongest soldier, and I shit you not, the reason I stopped using him is because Birdo joined this game. And my cousin who's picked Mario the past 6 games switched to her and noticed Birdo wears a ring and said some comment about her being married to Yoshi. And my base 9-year-old ass said we are single. And that's why Boo is my favorite character now. And before I get into the next mode, let's talk about some random shit. Mario Party 7 has the loudest title screen in any video game. Every time I play this, I usually keep the remote close to drop the volume when it starts. I made my file in the 3rd slot, which I regret to this day, and 7 added the controller buttons to its keyboard, and gee, my name is Ryan, so I had to use the R, Y, and A emojis. Nintendo, can you please make an N button? And the coolest little tidbit about this game, and it's something I didn't even notice for the longest time, but Mario Party 7 is the first Mario Party after Super Mario 64 DS released, so a lot of enemies got redesigns. Thwomp, Monty Mole, Pokey, Mr. Blizzard, Piranha Plant, Amp, they redesigned Dry Bones and said, this shit's clean as fuck. Put that motherfucker in Mario Party and make sure he's the best character in the game. Alright, so Mario Party 7 revived the minigame Island, the greatest single player mode in the series. And I don't like what they did. King of the River is an unorganized gauntlet of 30 random minigames, with the goal being to clear them all without running out of health. You'll start with 3 lives, and losing any lets you skip the run back in exchange for giving a temple guard a pendant of life. And that's the thing I hate. If I lose a minigame, I want to try it again. I want to earn my win and get to say I did it without any handicaps. As for the other random modes, I don't have much to say because they're never in the mix. So that's gonna wrap it up for Mario Party 7, the greatest party game of all time. Like I said in the beginning, this game is imperfect. It makes a lot of questionable decisions, and its gimmicks pad out time. But none of that matters when the core parts of the experience are bursting with quality. 7 has the series' best boards and a stellar set of minigames that I found way more enjoyment playing this game than I have with every other entry. And nostalgia obviously plays a key role. Visiting my grandma during summer breaks and playing video games with my sister and cousins, for those first few years, I was bringing a Nintendo 64 with an assortment of party games like the Mario Parties, Pokemon Stadiums, Banjo-Tooie, and more. And when I got a Gamecube with Mario Party 7, that was all we needed. This one game, with help from 6 and 5, were enough to exonerate the Nintendo 64 from rotation. And from 2006 to 2012, those were our games of choice. And since then, we haven't played it again. My cousins grew up and stopped going to grandma's, and for years, I denied that reality. I'd still show up and pack 4 controllers, hoping for one more game of Decathlon Castle or Pagoda Peak. But they never came. The party was over, and every Mario Party to follow has been lonely. A party of 1, 2, maybe 3, but never full capacity. Mario Party 7 is not only the last GameCube Mario Party, but an allegory of my life. I cling to it relentlessly and defend all its flaws. Like it's my childhood, an idyllic straw man to a restless spirit, the end of a generation. The lens I view this game is one unique to only me. Nobody else will see it the way I do. The sentiments, emotions, everything I felt is part of this game's identity. It embodies more than the 7th Mario Party than any of you will understand. That's why I think Mario Party 7 is the greatest party game ever made. Thanks for watching the video, I hope you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave a like to help the channel grow, and subscribe to get updates on my uploads as soon as they happen. But until then, I will see you all next time.